peoples. Okay. And welcome to another episode of Interviews with the Artistic Biker Live. Today we're interviewing the art Sherpa herself, Cinnamon Cooney.
Hi, how are you doing today?
I'm fine. How are you? You are fabulous.
Thank you. I'm trying for my May the 4th be with you fabulous.
May the 4th be with you and live long and prosper. Wait a minute.
No.
That's not right.
That's not okay.
That's not okay.
That's not okay. The geeks are going to come get you. You need a lot of views on it now.
Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. And the interwebs, please feel free to comment. Yeah. Okay, so tell us a little bit about yourself and your channel.
Well, my channel is for painting. I am about teaching people who don't know how to paint that they can paint, people who think that they don't have any talent, that in fact they're quite creative and artistic, and it's about creating a really safe, wonderful beginning art process so people can start an art journey.
Awesome. That's exactly what we're about in the group. Okay, so when did you first realize you were an artist?
I was born into art.
Yeah?
Third generation.
Third generation.
Third. I like to say it. Third. Thirst in the third.
So is it your mom and your grandma, your mom and your grandpa?
My mom and my grandmother, and actually on both sides of the family.
Yeah.
You know, we had photographers and like who photographed Yellowstone with Edison and.
So there's no hope for you.
There's none. Yeah, art wasn't a completely acceptable career to go into.
When you were 6 months old, somebody said, "Oh, look, our first paintbrush."
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Don't eat paint.
Don't eat paint. Okay, so what has been your biggest help along the way?
What has been my biggest help along the way? I think art has been my biggest help along the way.
Okay, you're going to have to clarify.
I'm going to have to clarify that. Well, what I think is that through the process of creating, you get quiet and you start to hear yourself. And every time you're being artistic, I don't care if it's quilting or sewing or crafting or making cards, you get this quiet space. And then inside there's this amazing guidance that occurs. And because I always had art, I was always tapped into that. So I was always able to silence the world and hear myself a little bit.
I got you, because you came from the art people.
Mm-hmm.
You already had the art in you.
Yeah.
Whereas those of us who never came exposed to art at a later date,
right.
7, 8, 9, 10 years old,
yeah.
and we decided we're going to start arting at that age.
It's much harder.
It's much harder because we don't have that inner peace. All we hear is you suck.
Well, and you know, I was really lucky when I was very small, and I blogged about this. My mom, I drew chicken. I was like 4. I did chicken, and my mom was like, "That's the best chicken I've ever seen. Your chicken is so good." And she turned it into stationery. And this is when there was no Kinko, so you can just go print off something. She'd like send away, and then the stationery came back, and for years she did all our correspondence on that chicken stationery. And that was just such an affirming feeling, and you know, you just keep trying for that.
Shoot, yeah, get that good feeling back. What's been your biggest struggle?
I think my biggest struggle is everything from the outside disrupting me taking that small amount of me time to just get back to my creative self.
Family life.
Yeah, just, you know, you gotta go to the grocery store and the car needs to be gassed up. And
emergency dental run.
You got worries about, you know, just everything that piles up on you. And sometimes it's really hard in a day where everything's on fire and is life-threatening. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's hard as all get out to sit there and say, you know, I'm going to take 20 minutes in the middle of this complete emergency and just craft and art a little bit. It's very hard to say. It would be easier to say I'm going to go to the gym because everybody will approve of that. You can't tell all your friends in the middle of an emergency, you know, I need about 20 minutes to just doodle so I can be okay. And it took me years to learn to just be like, you know what, I'm going to doodle right now because you're freaking me out and I need a minute to draw right here, and then I'll know what I'm going to do about all this.
You know, amazingly enough, in our circle of friends, like especially with like my wife and stuff, you see I've got my pen, you see I've got my book.
Mm-hmm. It's
just
time.
Need a minute.
It's time. It's time.
And you know, and we're all like, okay, shh, mommy, get away from mommy. I'll bandage your wounds. Come on.
I need this. Yeah, it is very hard to find a support group that understands that time is as important as drinking that weird green smoothie they want you to drink, or going to the gym and walking your 10,000 steps, none of which is as fun as I think just a little painting time is.
Exactly.
Which is why I don't have a fitness channel.
So normally at this point I ask Elvis or Sinatra, and you know what, I'm going to go ask anyway, my way, Elvis or Sinatra? Sinatra. This has been, we're going to have to get a different question because this is pretty much 100%.
Oh, but you've got to ask Chuck. Chuck Carson, who will not only answer Elvis, he will answer with some Elvis trivia, and he will explain to you why he's the king.
Well, see, I thought my dad would go with Elvis too,
Right.
but my dad said, "Oh no, Elvis was good at his own stuff, but he was never as good as anybody else doing their stuff." And Sinatra, nobody tops Sinatra, and that shocked me because my dad's all-time Elvis.
Yeah.
But I'm going to ask you another question because it is May the 4th.
May the 4th.
Is Jar Jar Binks the abomination we all think he is?
I'm going to come to Lucas's defense here and remind everybody that he doesn't make movies for grown-ups, even though we all grow up and see them again. He makes movies for 10-year-olds, and if you're 10, Jar Jar is okay in the same way. Ewoks, which look back at him. Don't come at me now, because y'all know Ewoks.
Oh no, we
were
want
messed up.
comments. We want comments.
And
Feel free
I mean,
to unleash on the Art Sherpa.
Cannibalistic teddy bear that took out giant at-ats. I'm just saying, and we were all like, yeah, that's awesome.
Totally believable.
You know, and I think that Lucas has stood up on that point, which is that he makes, like, it's nice that we're all grown-ups and we still come, but he's actually still making movies for kids, and I think we have to remember that when we're seeing these characters.
Ewoks are miniature Wookiees. Jar Jar Binks is an
A
abomination.
Wookiee is a peaceful creature compared to an Ewok. An Ewok will eat you.
So a Wookiee will break your arm up.
But he's not going to eat
I'm
you.
moving on.
Just saying.
What is your are Wookiees vegetarians? They're not vegetarians. No, because he went at
They don't eat sentient life forms though, like Ewoks.
nothing with a face.
Ewoks will eat your face. They do. It's actually, look at the movie. That's fact. That's not speculation. That's fact.
I love this. What is your go-to technique?
My go-to technique right now currently is probably an acrylic colored ground with inks and alcohol washes and alcohol layers.
So an acrylic.
So when you see here, this is all based on the fact that this is an acrylic colored ground. So even though it's acrylic, I can get the granulation there and all these drips, and I get control of that.
Okay.
It's like what I'm known for.
So an acrylic ground
Yeah.
with alcohol inks.
Yeah. Like flow goldens.
Flow.
Yeah, and or even like completely underbound pigmented acrylics. I treat them like they're watercolor, but because the ground it doesn't underbind.
Okay.
That's a bunch of it's not an easy thing.
We're gonna have some fun with that. We're
Yeah.
gonna because I'll take that and I'll play
Well,
with that.
guess
in
what my
book.
quest tomorrow is?
What's your quest?
It's about this technique.
Sweet.
So you can just watch it and then do it.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna get this passed on to like people.
Cool beans.
Mhm.
And we'll have a link to her show, of course. We'll have a link to hers in the description below. And it should be running across the screen right now at this moment. At this very moment. But no, it'd be up here, though, because I don't want it to be blocked
Are you
out
doing
by
an
that.
iCard?
No, it won't be an iCard. It'll be the words. Because I
Are
want
you
people...
YouTuber iCard it?
I want him to see Art Sherpa, and then we can iCard it.
iCard it. And
Yeah.
descriptions below.
And the descriptions below.
which you're gonna write a bunch more in.
Oh, yeah.
Completely.
She's been coaching me. She's like YouTube goddess. And she's been coaching me
I
on
just want
stuff.
people to find the artistic
I-
biker. I think
I-
if they find him, they're gonna watch him. Don't you think they're gonna watch him if they can find him? I think your show would totally trend.
I love you for that. I just...
It's just,
Thank
I
you.
think it's a good show, actually. Seriously, I really do.
What do you do about white canvas syndrome? Do you ever suffer from white canvas
I
syndrome?
don't suffer from white canvas syndrome anymore. I don't have the luxury. What I have come to is that some days I'm gonna suck. It's just not gonna resolve, and it's just gonna be terrible the whole way through. And the next painting will be awesome. So I just have to survive this one, get whatever's going on in here out.
Yeah? Do you
And-
finish those?
Yeah,
Or do you just
always.
Or do you just go until you can't do it anymore?
No, I won't get to the great next canvas unless. So what's happening if it's not working out, if it's not resolving, and I'm not flowing somewhere, the only way to unblock that is to just push through the you can see from my face. I don't love. You push through that canvas, and then while you sleep, while you rest, Ted backs this up. Fully explains why it
I
works.
understand.
Yeah, while you sleep, while you rest, your brain keeps working on what was happening, resolves it. Next painting is like the best painting you've done all month.
So you don't walk up to a white canvas and go,
No, very rarely. It doesn't really, like, I did a daily painting, and you pretty much figure out it just doesn't matter what you're going to paint. Like, at some point you're like, you're just grabbing a fork.
Gotcha.
I'll paint this fork.
Yeah.
Fork today.
And I found that when I was doing my daily drawings, if I draw every day, if I do a little bit every day, then when I actually walk up to a canvas, I'm inspired to do something anyway because I've already
it's
got
that
the gears
that
going.
whole thing is sort of just like you're desensitized to that. Now you're just like, well, you're kind of looking around like, what am I going to...
I have been known though to throw coffee on the canvas.
I have painted with coffee.
But no, standing in front of the white canvas, going, I don't know what to do, because I don't want to ruin it, and throw coffee on it. And just now it's ruined. Now you can
Okay.
paint. Now you can
Well,
paint whatever
I
you want.
think what it is, I think what that is for people teaching, especially a lot of beginner artists, is that there's such a pass, fail, succeed, fall on your face kind of mentality in our world, and that doesn't actually exist in art. There's the journey, there's where you're at today, and where you're going to be tomorrow, and the finished product that's happening along the way kind of doesn't have anything to do with that. And when you've done a lot of paintings and you've done it a lot of years, you really get very like detached in some sense from the artwork. Like I like to say, like pieces like this, they're an orphan, right? Like it's got to go survive on its own at some point. Like
Right.
once it leaves the house and I'm you know, it goes into somebody's life. I don't know. I've had paintings show up from the weirdest places. I have had people contact me later saying they bought something at a Goodwill. That's a surreal experience. I'm like, and I know how much the painting sold for, and I'm like, at a Goodwill. Seriously, like.
Well, I think you addressed the next question with your previous answer when I asked how do you deal with failure,
Mm-hmm.
because you said you just pushed through it.
You push through it.
Yeah.
But there's all kinds of failure. Like, I think as artists, there's the, you know, you're trying to, like, maybe you're trying to get into galleries, right? And you're gonna not get in a bunch of galleries. That's just really the truth. You're gonna get in some, but to get in some, you gotta not get in a whole bunch of them. And if you're trying to show under traditional art process, you're gonna jury into a lot of shows, of which a lot of those jurors for a long time are not gonna put your stuff in the show. I think there's an endless opportunity to experience traditional failure, but it's not really failure.
Yeah.
Again, if you're in art all the time, you realize not every juror's gonna like my stuff.
Sure.
Sometimes they're like, I just don't like the colors you use.
I kind of like what you said there about you've got to get into a gallery. You've got to not get into a whole bunch of galleries.
Yeah.
Well, that's applicable to a lot of things.
Everything.
I want to draw a circle. Well, you've got to draw a lot of not circles.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want to be able to paint. I want to be able to paint horses. Well, you got to paint a lot of not horses.
I think everything you need to know in life to be happy holistically, you can actually learn somewhere in the studio.
Yeah.
We call it studio wisdom.
And practice.
Mhm.
I have a whole video dedicated to practice.
Practice is a great thing.
I'll show it to you here.
We don't practice enough stuff, right? Practice being happy.
What is your greatest artistic success so far?
I right now feel like this has been my greatest artistic success.
This interview?
This interview right now. It's right now, right
this
here.
specific? No, I mean like
I think
everybody's got that
think-
favorite painting. Everybody's got that favorite show. Everybody's got that favorite photograph. That one thing they did that if they could emulate it over and over and over, emulate that feeling over and over and over again, they would.
I think it for me is the letters that I started getting from a community about the paintings that they were getting. I don't know why that has supplanted everything I've ever done in art before this, because I've had an agent and I've hung in galleries and I've done that and I had those things and awards. But what has been happening is that the community that we have in YouTube that watches art and the way they paint and the stuff that they share, every time like somebody's like, I had a breakthrough, or this thing you said totally unlocked this for me, and they show me a painting and you could see that they completely overcame some artistic block, maybe an emotional block, it is the most exciting thing ever. And I did not know the YouTube show was going to be this much of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I thought it was going to be like a thing I did while I worked on the fine art.
Right,
I thought it was going to be a thing I did while I worked on the fine art.
And maybe fun with the fine art a little bit.
Yeah, like just like and like help people out, like help people get into their artistic journey. But I didn't know it was going to become my absolute, complete, totally all-encompassing mission
All
to get art everywhere.
encompassing takes over. YouTube takes over your life.
Yeah.
I promise you.
It does. It does.
I've shown you around my studio before with the lights and cameras and everything. This is some next level stuff here. These people are from another planet compared to
If you're
compared
thinking
to my
about
stuff.
starting a YouTube channel, no, you should totally do it. If you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel, I don't think I've ever done anything as emotionally rewarding.
Yeah.
Crazily.
Yeah. And you can do that with your phone, but this is not from a phone.
No, this is a hot mess though. We're not showing you the reality
we're not
of
gonna.
this world.
I'm not going to show you everything, but
No, it's a hot
trust
mess.
me, this is.
It's going to be really cool soon though.
This is a great setup. This is a great setup. Well, thank you very much for your
Thank
time.
you for coming out today.
I've really enjoyed visiting. I've been visiting with her
All day.
Not all day. Not if my boss is watching. Not all day. I haven't been here, but we've been visiting for a while. She's.
You getting people fired?
Well,
Don't fire him.
please don't fire me. Love my day job. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Be sure and tune in next time for interviews with the Artistic Biker Live, and be sure and watch the Artistic Biker Live every Thursday night from 6:30 to 8 at the Artistic Biker on YouTube.
That's where you should be.
Okay, we're done.